Go. Kilted
Kilted
balls.
balls.
I wonder if I
Yeah.
should give you like a hand sign when I'm about to say kilted balls.
No way. It's selling out.
That is selling out. Selling out. We don't want it to be too good, right?
Then we're gonna have to decide we're gonna be jingle makers.
Right. That'd just be silly. Well, people, welcome back to the Kilted Balls podcast. Hope you guys had a great holiday. Mine was good.
Yes,
How was
mine was
yours,
awesome.
Kilted? I haven't talked to you since then.
I know we've both been pretty busy. Mine was pretty awesome, except for being sick. But I was able to use my willpower. I was really sick the 2 days before.
Mm-hmm.
I was not sick at all on Christmas Day, so I did all the family stuff and all that. And then the very like that night, I was like in extreme pain all night again. So
Oh, no.
that's good.
But now
Made
you're
it.
better.
Yeah, I'm borderline.
Food
I've only
sickness, norovirus. What do you think?
actually the doctor today said that we probably all got norovirus. We don't know how we got it, but that's what she was. And I was like, oh, okay, because Gina was describing what Morgan had last week, and she's like, I'm surprised you guys haven't had it. I was like, I haven't thrown up, but
Yeah,
everything else.
it's pretty contagious. So I imagine if it hits one of you, it hits all of you.
Yeah.
And that's
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I'm mostly better now. I mean, I've been eating and stuff and
Well,
been
that's
spending a
good.
lot of time in the tiniest
And
room of the house.
well, I'm glad. I'm glad you're feeling better, and hopefully you come and visit, and maybe we'll do an episode up here. That'd be fun
I know.
too. That'd be
That'd be super
sweet.
awesome.
What else? I've been playing Townstar a lot. I don't know why, if it's just because I have a little bit of extra time, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm gonna play some Townstar, and it's got all those new mechanics. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it and play it. And they released all of those because they said they thought it would make it more entertaining. And I'm like, I actually am more entertained today as
Yeah.
I played it more. I'm like, this is much more entertaining than it
Yeah.
was.
Because I've been playing a lot this month. I think that one of the big things about it is that it gives you more options. It's not like to get the most points, you really had to go like this way or this way. And depending on
Right.
what they had switched in the overall scheme of things, you had to kind of go that way. But now there's like we were talking before we started recording, there's tons of different things to do. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Well, that used to be the reason why it was kind of boring. I mean, even when they gave you money to play, it was
Hmm.
boring because you were just like, okay, I need to make this, need to make this, need to make this, and there we go.
Hmm.
And now you're like, oh, maybe like I'm super frustrated that I have to do all of these little steps, do things that I wasn't planning on. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I've never really made those things. Oh, I've never made those things. So that's kind
Hmm.
of cool that we're getting that opportunity. So that's kind of fun. So it's fun, which, is just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, one of the things, listeners, we've been talking a lot, and I'm interested in people's thoughts and feels is manifesting, right?
Hmm.
That hasn't that come up like 10 times
Hmm.
lately? 10 is not an exaggeration. Easily multiple conversations
Yes.
we've talked about manifesting. Um, and not like sometimes like real like people talk about I'm going to manifest this and they think really hard and then they're like yes, not
Hmm.
necessarily that, though that is something we talk about a lot. Mine is just man, I really wish this happened or I need this to happen and I need to do it, and then all of a sudden it gets done for me and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, sweet, sweet. And
Hmm.
people at my work used to talk about that. Like I'd be like, oh, I really need whatever to happen, like, I need the school to get a new van or something.
Hmm.
And then like a week later, the school will be like, hey, we just got a new van. Would you like to use it? And people will be like, how does that happen all the time? I'm like, I don't know how it happens. I just know that it happens. And I'm super grateful and happy that it does.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so just kind of the way this one was kind of a tragedy. And I can give you the story, but we are, and we talked about it a little on the episode, we're kind of exiting the licorice business,
Hmm.
but we have expired stock still. So we have all the stock that we're like, yeah, we gotta get rid of it. And
Hmm.
it's kind of a pain in the butt because our warehouse is underground. Like
Hmm.
Kilted's been there. It's way deep underground. You got to take like a conveyor belt. Like
Yes.
it's nice because it's temperature controlled and it's super safe, we thought. So
Mhm.
we've really enjoyed it. But they had a water main break and it flooded it like
And
4 feet of
that
water.
because of the temperatures that you guys have had down there?
So I learned more today
Okay.
about what happened. Apparently, they've had this happen before.
Oh, really?
In one of their units,
Hmm.
they had a water main break before, and their maintenance person went in and made it so it wouldn't happen again. Okay. And it's funny because one of the tenant in question is one that Amy does not like. Like she just doesn't like the person, like
Okay.
as a person. She
Hmm.
thinks they're a bad person. They're always doing jinked up crap. So
Okay.
she already doesn't like them. But anyway, it was in their place that it froze before, but it didn't flood everything because it was
Yeah.
normal times. But they
Hmm.
went through, made it so it wouldn't happen again. Same one froze, same place, but it froze when our temperatures dipped, which was right before the holidays,
Yes.
which means that thing was flooding 24th, 25th, 26th.
Oh,
And
because
then
no one
today they,
was down there.
because no one was down there and no one was in that store.
Gosh.
And I'm like, that's weird that it happened in the same spot and that you guys thought you fixed it. They're like, oh no, we fixed it. And then the person remodeled their space and undid the fix.
No way.
So it froze again.
Is it a local store or a national store?
Local, I believe, local.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Wow. I know you can't say it. That's crazy. I can't
no,
wait to see
no.
it.
And she was bitter at them already. She was already bitter. She complains about them all the time. And now she's like, son of a gun. And for me, I'm like she was like, hey, you need to go there tomorrow and see like what you can salvage. I'm like, I don't like, what do you mean? Is it like
Mhm.
your restoration crew gonna dispose of everything? She's like, I mean salvage what you want. Like if there's like equipment there that you still want. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll go over there tomorrow and get any equipment because we stored stuff in it, you know,
Oh, okay.
right? Like tents for, all of your
Oh,
normal
yeah, like
show stuff,
some of that stuff. Yeah, okay.
are your tables, your
Was anything worth keeping?
I don't know. That's why I've got to. She's like, you got to go and check it out
Oh,
and see if
that's
it's worth.
tomorrow. Tomorrow. Okay. I thought you
Yeah,
meant like when you were talking about it like the other day. I forgot you just found out about it today.
yeah. Just found out today. So anyway, yeah, it was interesting because I was thinking, man, I don't want to clear that out and figure out where to get rid of all of that and haul it up all those flights. And now, yeah, significant water damage, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
You're not getting in that workout.
Not getting in the workout, which is kind of sad, but I'm gonna live with myself, right?
You're
So,
gonna be okay
because
with
what is
that.
that? Is that like 20, 30 feet down?
I'd say at least 20 feet down. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a long,
And
long
that
ass way.
conveyor belt's huge.
Yeah, and that the conveyor belt shot, right? Because it flooded the
Yeah.
motor.
Mhm.
Yeah. They said the electrician there was for like 10 or 12 hours because they had to rewire all the power station stuff. They're
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be an expensive insurance claim. I'm like, well, put the licorice on there too. I go, it was easily 10 pallets worth.
Uh-huh, exactly. I mean, it probably smells great down there. I mean, all that because you had said there's boilers and stuff down there, so it had to have cooked some of the water and like you made like almost like a Kool-Aid down there.
Yeah, it probably made like a Kool-Aid. It probably smells really good. I'll find out when I go down there. So yeah, but that's one example of like a you might say
Hmm.
coincidence, but as Kilton and I have talked a lot, we have those coincidences happen a lot. We take L's, we take L's, right? Like
Hmm.
we're not like some psychic geniuses like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna go up tomorrow. Like that's not what we're talking about. But we do believe
Hmm.
that when you manifest, and Jason's talked about this and you've talked about this a lot, but like part of it is if you're always thinking about something, then you see the opportunities
Mhm.
because you're always thinking about it. So
Yeah.
like it's people are like, how does all those good things happen to you? Well, if you're always looking for those good things, yeah, the good things always happen because that's what you're looking for, right?
Mhm.
If you're always looking for the negative things, you always see the negative things,
Yeah, you're exactly.
right?
Well, it's like it's the old blue car thing. Like, oh, I never noticed there's so many blue cars in the road till I bought a blue car, and then all I see are blue cars. Like,
Yeah.
never.
Well, and Amy talks about it and she says, this is why you and I are so happy all the time.
Hmm.
She said, we always live in the gain. She read this book called The Gap in the Gain, and I think I've talked about it on here.
Hmm.
Haven't I?
It doesn't sound familiar, honestly.
Oh, so she read this book called The Gap in the Gain, and the premise of it was you're happier when you live in the gain. In other words, you're always looking at where you've come from. You're always looking at how much you've gained. And so you're always
Okay.
feeling happy with how much
Hmm.
you've gained. And it said, on the converse of that is people who are always looking at the fact they didn't hit their goals
Okay.
and they didn't hit their goals. And so they're living in that gap between where they're at and their goals. And so they're not happy and they're grumpy and they stop working towards their goals or blah, blah, blah. Whereas they're like people who set their goals and they don't hit their goals, but they're like, oh, look how far I came. And they're
Yeah,
living in that gain kind of a mindset. Right.
that's awesome.
So,
That's hilarious. Does she still have it? I might have to
yeah,
steal that when
she
I'm up
has it.
there.
She has it for
Yeah,
sure.
because
And
that doesn't sound familiar. It's awesome. Sounds awesome.
yeah, well, and she goes, holy cow. Like when she first started reading it, she was probably like 2 chapters in. She's like, oh my gosh, you live in the game. That it all makes more sense now. And I'm like, what are you like talking about? And she's like, you live in the game. Like you're always so happy with where you've come. She goes, and I'm always looking at how far I still have to go. And I'm always grumpy about it. She goes, but that's
Mhm.
why you're always so darn happy. Like she goes, you see a room and you're like, look how much I've cleaned the room. And she goes, and I look at the room and I'm like, this room is so messy. And she goes,
So
you
has
live in the
she been
game.
able to change her mindset even a little bit after reading that? Is that something
No,
that
I
she
think
worked
not.
on?
No.
Okay. She just realized it was there. I mean, that's
I
everyone's
think,
different.
well,
Everyone's
and I think that's the next step, right? Like, I think the next step is okay, because she does live in the game a little bit, but most of the time, she kind of lives in the gap, right? Where she sees everything not done or
hmm.
sees all, right? Like, for example, I spent a few hours like
Yeah.
cleaning up my guest bedroom, right? And setting things up and,
Hmm.
doing stuff. And like when she got home, I was like, come look at all this stuff I've done. And she walked in and she's like,
Hmm.
this room is destroyed. And I'm like, for sure, it's destroyed, for sure. And she's like, why did you bring me down here? I'm like, look at how the air mattress is set up. It's like a perfect little spot now. And she's like, well, yeah. I go, look at that corner that had stuff from 2 Christmases ago, like wrapping, like boxes and papers and gift
Yeah.
trash. I go, it's all gone. Look at all the spider webs are gone. Look at the carpet's been vacuumed twice. Look at that dresser, which has been totally like boom, 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 boom. And she's like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, you did a ton of work. It's so much better. And I'm like,
Hmm.
right. But when she walked in, it wasn't, oh my gosh, it's so much better. It's, oh my gosh, it's destroyed,
This is a
right?
mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Living in the gap, not living in the game. And I told her when she said
Hmm.
it, she goes, it's so interesting. Like you like kind of live that way. And I'm like, well, you have to if you're a coach. I'm like, a good coach has to live in the gap. And I talked to other coaches. Like I went to
Hmm.
other coaches in my school and said, hey, here's this concept, you know, we live in the game. And they're like, well, you have to live in the game. Like
Hmm.
if you've been coaching for any amount of time, because you never hit your goals. And people are like, what? You hit your goals as a coach? No, because you always move your goals as a coach, right? So
Exactly.
like your goal is always to be a state champ, always to be a state champ, always to be a state champ. And as soon as you hit state champ, your goal is, okay, I'm going to be top 10 in the nation. I'm going to be top 10 in the nation. And then it's, okay, now I'm going to be a national champ. Our band did that this year, right? So
Yeah.
our band was state champs and they were like, oh, that's awesome. And the next year they said, okay, we're going to compete for nationals. And this
Hmm.
year they were like, okay, we were 51st in the nation. We're going to want to do this again. We'll take a couple years and we'll come back and see if we can get top 25 in the nation, right? You
Yeah.
change your goals. But what
Hmm.
makes you a coach with longevity is you say, look where I was last year. Look where I am at the end. Look where I was
Hmm.
2 years ago. Look where I am. So you're not pissed that you didn't hit your goal. you're excited about how far you came on your quest to get that goal,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's kind of how I feel about our NFT crypto journey all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I lost so much in my futures. But man, look at all the stuff I got out of that. Like, I learned so much and I'm
Yeah.
feeling so much better. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't opened any of my strategies since the day before Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at plus 40% for the month. And I'm like, I probably should. Like today, I was looking at it going, oh, I should. And I would have made money today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I
there's a
also,
little bit of vitality today.
yeah, there's a little bit volatility and stuff. And I was like, I could have made money. But I'm also like, do I care? Like, I kind of want to
Mm-hmm.
start the new year and
Mm-hmm.
keep my strategy going and see how it works. But again, I'm like, I don't think I could have done this strategy scratch. It took a lot of learning to get to where I'm at in that strategy.
Yeah. And I was talking about that and did I say this last week or did I think about it last week? About
No.
just being thankful to come in towards the top because of where we
Yes.
are now. Because if imagine coming and the people who are coming in now, I think it's super awesome because you're getting great deals. But
Mm-hmm.
if I like to imagine coming in right now and riding a little bit of the bear, which stinks, and then hitting the bull market and then learning those lessons that I learned between almost top and then partway down the bear market, but learning it in 4 years from now,
Right.
you know,
Like just
where
such a
I'm in my
better thing.
50s then. I mean, I'd like to think my mindset would be the same, but I already might be more like wanting to travel more, like closer to that, like being prepped more and like, maybe had more money to even put in and
Yeah.
then I'll end up putting in more money and then be in a position where I'm not okay where everything's down.
Right. No, I think that's
Super
exactly it.
thankful.
And that's, gratitude, right? Somebody, I
Mm-hmm.
think it was one of my main people was like, my word of this year is going to be gratitude. That's what I'm going to do. And I think they were like, I'm thankful for all of you people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you've got to take it even one step further. Like, I'm thankful for my lessons that I learned. I'm thankful I got
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity to learn those lessons, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not
Like
only the
I
good.
yeah. Well, and I think about that like a lot of times, like say when I'm mowing a lawn, right? And I'll be like, I'm so mad I have to be out here mowing the lawn and wasting time. And I'm like, wait a second, I get to mow this lawn. I
Mm-hmm.
own this lawn,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, that's mine,
Yeah.
right? And I'll be at like a rental and I'll be like, oh, I'm so pissed I have to do this work on the rental. And I'm like, it's my rental. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
mine. Like I should be grateful to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And I'm like, that's kind of a big thing. Speaking of rentals, I think tentatively I may have sold the 4 unit. Did I tell you that? Did
Yeah,
I tell
you
did
talked
I
about
tell the
it. You talked
listeners?
about it on the podcast. So that is it. That person.
That person like basically wrote me the next day if I didn't share this and was like, "Hey, I'm like pre approved. Like he hasn't like gone into it at all or done
Mm-hmm.
any stuff, but I was like, "Hey, this is what I want and if we do it between ourselves, I'll do it for like 190 something, take
Mm-hmm.
out the commission." And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, okay. And then like he asked me all these questions and I answered them. And then he
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, listen, he goes, I'm pre-approved. I went today to the bank, got pre-approved. He goes, well, it's like pre-approved. And he goes, and what that means is the position he's in, and I know all of his history because of Amy, but the
Yeah.
position he's in, he hasn't hit 6 months yet.
Okay.
Hit 6 months in March. And so he's like, so I've been pre-approved, but they won't like officially pre-approve me until I've hit my 6 months. And he's like, so you said you weren't really in a rush to sell and you didn't care about selling in a hurry. So, if you don't mind waiting a little bit, then, I'll totally buy it. And I was like, I wasn't lying to you. I don't care at all whether it sells or it doesn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is another example of manifestation. And I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. When I first got put in touch with this guy through Amy,
Mm-hmm.
she heard him talking about it
Mm-hmm.
and she like texted me and she's like, hey, I may have found a buyer for the 4 unit. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, yeah, this person was like, I'm gonna buy a 4 unit. I'm really interested. And he's like, I wish you had one for sale. And she was like, I do. And he's like, oh, like, would your husband be interested in selling it? And so she texted me and he was like, oh, would he be interested in selling it? And
Mm-hmm.
I took my phone and I was like, clicked to my computer screen and sent it to her
Mm-hmm.
because it was my zip listing. It's just about to hit submit.
Yeah,
So
that was awesome.
literally, I'm like, that could it be coincidence? For sure. For sure,
Mm-hmm.
it's coincidence. It's also the fact that we'd been talking about it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm literally making the listing
Mm-hmm.
as the person says, hey, I want to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's about as manifestation as it gets right there,
Mm-hmm. You're
I
exactly
think.
right.
You know,
Actually, it's funny because I was just talking about this with Miles too, and because he brought it up when all the craziness started happening, and I knew once I knew that it wasn't going to be able to be fixed,
right.
because I talked, I talked with you quite a bit, talked with Jason a ton, talked with Miles a lot actually. But
Yeah.
anyways, so he's like, oh, what are you gonna do next? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm selling sheets. And he's like, what, like, what are you gonna do when you're done selling sheets? Like, is that is that tied to who you are? Like, is it that important? Are you gonna continue to do that? He's like, are you gonna do something different? Because he's very much like you can do anything. And I was just talking to him. Actually, I talked to him yesterday for a bit, and it's funny because I'd been thinking about that recently. Like, I still have a while, like I can still sell sheets for a while, but I'm like, you
Right.
know what? I need to just start putting it out there. Not that I want to do something or I need to do something, but what if there's something out there that I would really love doing?
Right.
And there's someone out there looking for somebody like me who would, my skills and all of that stuff that's going to work really well. So it was cool to kind of like bring that back around. Like, remember you were asking me this, and I was kind of like, meh, 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 whatever. So it's funny. He was laughing, but he's asking me if I would be willing to help him make a board game. So he starts a new job that he's super excited about next month. He's like, I have a month to put into this. So we started brainstorming already. So I'm pretty
That's
excited about that because
super exciting.
I'm like, what do you want from me? And he's like, well, you game a lot. He's like, you've played a ton of games. I trust your judgment. And he's like, I just love to bounce ideas, maybe a few zooms here and there. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm like, I wasn't, if you're expecting, I want to know what you're expecting of me.
Right.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It seems really cool. We brainstormed a bunch yesterday, and we'll Zoom and all
Well,
that
I will
stuff.
help out in the booth at
Mhm.
Gen Con.
There you
So
go. You'll be a booth babe.
I'll be a booth babe. I'll
There you
probably
go.
wear my kilt.
There you go.
So, yep. Someone today said we should do a calendar shoot for kilted balls.
There you go. Those are fans for sure.
Right? Fans for sure. I was like, I got to get my kilt. I was thinking, I'm like, I got to get my kilt first. So,
Uh-huh.
but that'd be funny to do like a calendar NFT,
That'd be awesome.
right? Like
There's
every
got to
month
be a
you
way
get
to
a
do
new
that.
NFT,
Hmm.
right? I've been thinking more about Polygon since I got that app that I shared with you, which you
Hmm.
said was on the Polygon network. I'm like, that was so smooth and so easy. And wasn't Trump's thing on the Polygon network too?
Trump was on Polygon.
I'm like, I might have to start looking at that more and, maybe
Hmm.
releasing NFTs on there.
Hmm.
I'm like, I think there could be some fun there, right?
Yeah. I mean, Matt, I think I like Polygon a lot as far as that's concerned. I've learned a lot more because remember our giveaway was on Polygon, but we couldn't give it away because we didn't know how to like switch everything up and all that. We've come
Yeah,
a long ways.
we've come a long way.
We're
I
like,
still don't know
sorry,
how
we
to switch
can't.
it up.
We were like, we can't give this to you because we don't know how to do it.
No, we're like, just take our ETH and run. And the
Hmm.
guy was like, okay, I'll just take the
But
ETH.
but yeah, I figured out how to do that and all that stuff. But yeah, and I think the Matic token is one that it's actually one that's held strong in the spare market comparatively. I think it's only dropped like 60 or 70%.
Yeah, I definitely will be excited when we are done with this fair.
Mhm.
So last year we said we would be pumping at the end of the year. We were so wrong.
Mhm.
So wrong. How long do you think the bear is going to last? What's your prediction? We got 3 days before the new year, right? 3, 4 days. So what's your prediction
I
for how
think
long?
I think the I think we're sideways all next year. Maybe going up a little bit, but I would say it'd be more towards the end of the year from people much smarter than me and who know what's going on. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing from them as well. That I mean, we can still hit 10, but we're probably not.
Well,
But
and
still, now, go ahead.
I don't think I, this sounds weird. I don't think I would be sad about it being sideways for a year, right?
Well, I tell you what, with just working on our trading strategy and being the teacher right now, like, and I heard today on one of the podcasts I listened to, the Bitcoin is the least volatile it's ever been over the past, I think they said 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like literally sideways. But when it's just a little bit sideways and there's still some volatility, I mean, there's like that's exciting because you never hit the 30.
That's what I mean. Like I'm sad because I've got a lot of money tied up in ETH,
Hmm.
right? I'm like my 3L token that I've had forever now, which is now
Hmm.
why I hate 3Ls, is sitting here. I think I put in 5,000 in that before the Ethereum 2.0 or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's worth 1,000 right now,
Hmm.
right? Because
You're like, dang it.
that 3L they reset it every once in a while, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it's just sitting there doing nothing until it turns bullish. It just sits.
Yeah.
So on one hand, if it turns bear, then I can save some of my money back. You're right, and I've got so much ETH anyway that I'm like, okay, that'd make me
Yeah.
feel good. On the other hand, I made 40% with my strategy.
Yeah.
So if I could make another 40% in January by it moving sideways,
Hmm.
I'd be ecstatic, right? Well,
Yeah.
right? Like if I made 40% on a year, I'd be ecstatic. Don't you think? I think I lost you. That's what I think. Man.
Hmm.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Yeah. Yeah. You were breaking up a lot.
I think it was
Oh,
you
it
breaking
says
up.
my internet connection's unstable. Oh man, it was because everyone's home right now. Oh,
Oh
stinkers.
yeah. Darn it. They're stealing the bandwidth. Stealing the bandwidth. But anyway, yeah, and maybe so that I don't mind if it does. I'm actually kind of like, well, maybe it stays sideways for a year, right?
Hmm.
Because it's not like my Ethereum's going anywhere. And I don't think as long as KuCoin stays solvent, I don't think I'm going to lose that 5,000 I put in the Ethereum 3L, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think just it doesn't have to go. What did I decide before? I think I bought it at 1,500 and I'm like, I needed to go 2,000 now static. So I think
Yeah.
that's still true. No matter how
Yes.
many times they've redone it, I think if Ethereum goes to 2,000, I think Ethereum will go to 2,000.
And people are I've heard people say there could still be like one of those fake outs, and you never know. There could be, but that would be great for you if there was like another up and then down and we're sideways, or up and then we go sideways where Bitcoin's at 20K instead of almost 17.
Yeah, it doesn't have to do much, right? It
Nobody
doesn't
knows.
have to
Yeah.
do much, which is why the strategy works because nobody knows. So, which you sent a text the other day and I did not understand what you were saying. I've got to ask you, got to
You
ask.
have to say
It
it in a
said,
minute.
what we really know about the strategy.
Uh-huh.
We don't know anything
Yep.
and it's constantly changing. So, are you saying the
Yep.
strategy is bad or?
Well, right now, being in a sideways market and without much volatility, I'm excited when I see a 3% movement and I need to jump on that rather than waiting for
Yes,
the 10%. That's
yes,
what I'm
yes.
saying.
So the way mine is set up and it's working and we got to get off is I
Mhm,
only look for a 1% change and that automatically changes everything. But all
mhm,
right, people, we're going to end it here. Hopefully you had a great holiday. Maybe you'll get to see us face to face recording this
mhm.
weekend. And if you don't, have a great new year. This is Ballbuster signing off.
Get the Dragon's Air. Love you all.